Welcome to Restaurant Review. Talking about minimum wage. Let's kind of talk about that a little bit today because it's a crazy topic and I got a way to fix it. I found a clip from Joe Rogan and what's his name, Schumer? Or is that Schumer? I forgot.
You tell me, how do people survive on $13 an hour? 60% of American.
How much different is that than past generations?
It's worse now, Joe.
And keeps getting worse.
I attribute it to decades-old attacks on the working class of this country. I attribute it to horrific trade agreements, which have allowed corporate America to throw millions of workers out on the street and move to China, Mexico, and other low-wage countries. I attribute it to a corrupt political system in which billionaires have significant control over both political parties.
And all these companies, corporations try to bend the working man over every chance they get.
So that, for example, right now in Washington, the national minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. So you got millions of workers today, making 10, 12, 13 bucks an hour. You tell me, how do people survive on 13 bucks an hour? So you got something like half of older workers in America have nothing in the bank when they face retirement. So I think, to answer your question, I think you got a rigged system controlled economically and politically by very, very wealthy and powerful people who could care less for working families. You tell me, how do people survive on 13 bucks an hour? 60% of American.
How much different is that than past generations?
It's worse now, Joe.
Wow. See, that's crazy. That's just insane. And that's the way it is. Why aren't wages tied to how much it costs to live? Why aren't they tied to it, like, closely? Okay, like, why doesn't the minimum wage go up, like, per county based on the cost of living? You need this much to pay rent for a one-bedroom apartment. So minimum wage should be enough to pay for that. Otherwise, what's the point in having that job if you can't even afford a place to stay? It's just insanity. We need to control the narrative. We need to change things. We need to take control of this stuff because it's ridiculous.
Hey, look, right? It's 2025, so we just gotta accept the fact that jobs that pay like between $18 and $25 an hour is the new minimum wage. Now, I'm not gonna say how much I'm making now, but I was making $25 an hour at one point. And let me just say, it wasn't enough. Like, bro, $25 an hour is the new $15 an hour. Hey, man. And God forbid, if you make it 18, so bro, you might as well stay at your mother house. This is coming from a nigga that's made $25 an hour in one of his jobs before. Let me tell you something. Even if you don't have no kids or you ain't got a whole lot of bills, $25 an hour is not even enough to pay for a $1,300 apartment. Hey, look, right? It's 2025, so...
Right? Insanity. It's just insane. This is what I'm talking about how, average people, we're not even talking about, like, I hate to say this, but the bottom of the barrel people, the people that, like, are like, no, I can't do anything. I'm not going to do anything. I just want to be able to go to work at McDonald's and have a place to stay. That's all I want. And people can't do that nowadays. here's a so it's $30 minimum wage. What? Let's see.
$30 an hour. That's the new minimum wage Los Angeles wants to give hotel and airport workers by 2028. And it's lighting a firestorm of a debate. Just think about that. $30 an hour. Supporters are saying it's long overdue that people who keep LA's massive tourism running can't even afford to live in the city they serve. And with the 2028 Olympics coming around the corner, they say it's about time that these workers earn a living wage. One study even came out and said, hey, it will add over $1 billion into the local economy. But what about the critics? What are they saying? Well, they're sounding the alarm. They say this move could backfire hard, by the way. Higher hotel prices, fewer jobs, reduced hours, and a huge blow to small businesses already hanging on by a thread. Some are even arguing the whole thing is political, a flashy move to look good before the Olympics, even if it tanks the economy in the process. So here's the big question. Does a $30 minimum wage actually help workers, or does it crush the very 30?
That's the wrong question. The question is it going to do anything? Or what is it going to do? Because what it's going to do is if you raise minimum wage, all it's going to do is, like you were saying, is it's going to cause businesses all around to raise their prices because they want to keep making profit every year. I mean, it's insane when you actually see it firsthand. I've worked at companies, especially retail companies, that are like, no, we need to make more money this month than we did this month last year. And they want to do that every single month, every single year. And so one of the ways they do that is by cutting y'all out, paying you less money, and raising prices on stuff. So we have to tie minimum wage to the housing costs or the cost of living somehow. That's the only way we can do it. We have to tie it. Because if we don't tie it to something like that, it just keeps giving companies and corporations the loophole of, oh, you raise minimum wage, you're costing us more money. Okay, that's okay. We'll just raise prices on stuff. We'll just pass it on to the consumer. And that's not right. Not right at all. Look at this one. Minimum wage is for middle-aged adults. I agree. Minimum wage was made to make it so the average person, if all they could get was minimum wage, could still afford to live.
They lied to you. Minimum wage was never meant for teenagers. It was meant so grown adults didn't starve. And they've been playing in our faces about it ever since. So when they created the minimum wage back in 1938, it wasn't about giving kids a few bucks for gas money. It was about making sure grown adults with families could survive. FDR himself literally said it. A living wage, not just enough to exist, but to live decently. But look at what they tell you now. Minimum wage is for kids. It's just a starter job. You're not supposed to live off of that. Because here's the truth they don't advertise. Most minimum wage workers today aren't teenagers. The average minimum wage worker is about 35 years old. A lot of them are raising families, paying rent, and surviving off tips and scraps. So why do they push this teenager myth? Because if they can convince you that minimum wage workers aren't real adults, then they can shame people for being poor. They can freeze wages. They can protect the billionaires at the top, all while blaming you for a system that they rigged. It's the same old scam. Blame the worker, hide the exploitation. Pretend poverty is a personal failure instead of a manufactured reality. If a full-time job can't cover basic rent, food, and healthcare, that's not a worker problem. That's a broken system problem. Minimum wage is supposed to be the floor that you could stand on, not the basement they bury you in. Don't let them shame you into surviving a system that was never meant to let you live easy in the first place. They lied to you.
Wow, that was hella based. And yeah, and the minimum wage worker, you got 2, 3, 4, 5 people per household working just to pay the bills. Y'all know it, y'all seen it. It's the same for so many Americans. All right, so y'all know minimum wage don't work. We gotta change things. We gotta tie living expenses to wages somehow. And I got an idea. I made a video about it. It's gonna pop up right here. So go ahead and click on that if you're interested, and you'll see how this could actually work. I think it could actually work and improve everybody's lives in America. Everybody's. Thank y'all for coming. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll see y'all next time.